The human warship moved through space without sound or light. It stayed near the edge of a neutral trade zone where many species passed, but few stayed for long. The ship looked old from the outside. Its hull showed marks of repair and layers of dark metal. Some plates did not even match in color. To many eyes, it looked like a ship that had seen too many battles and had not been cared for well. Inside the ship, everything was calm. Soft lights filled the corridors. Machines worked with quiet rhythm. Kang Jisoo stood on the main deck and watched the stars through a wide screen. He was not tall, and his face was calm, almost tired. His uniform was simple and without decoration. He had learned long ago that loud symbols meant little in real war. Park Do-yeon sat nearby at a control station. His hands moved slowly over the panels. His eyes were sharp and focused. He listened to signals coming from outside the ship. Many were normal trade signals. One was not. Lee Hana entered the deck with a small tablet in her hand. She paused for a moment and looked at the screen showing the stars. She felt the same quiet tension she always felt in open space. She had been on many ships, but this one was different. It felt like a living thing that waited and watched. Choi Myra was already there, standing near a sealed wall panel. To anyone else, it looked like a normal wall. She knew it hid systems that should never be seen by visitors. She checked her tablet and nodded once to herself. Park Do-yeon broke the silence. He said that an Alliance patrol had locked sensors on them. He said their signal showed authority and confidence. He did not say fear, because there was none. Kang Jisoo nodded slowly. He asked how long until they made contact. Park Do-yeon answered that it would be soon. The patrol was close and moving directly toward them. Lee Hana said that the patrol came from a group that often looked down on humans. They believed humans were lucky survivors, not real builders of power. She had read many reports about them. Kang Jisoo smiled faintly. He said that belief was useful. Moments later, a message request appeared on the main screen. The image of an alien commander filled the space. His skin was pale blue, and his eyes were wide and bright. His posture showed control and pride. His name was Commander Arel. Commander Arel spoke in a smooth voice. He said the human ship was required to stop for inspection. He said it was for safety and balance in the trade zone. His tone made it clear that refusal was not expected. Kang Jisoo answered with respect. He said they understood and would comply. He said their ship was old and slow, and they did not wish to cause trouble. Arel seemed pleased. He said an inspection team would board shortly. He ended the call without waiting for more words. Lee Hana looked at Kang Jisoo. She asked if that was wise. She knew the patrol had no real right to inspect a military vessel. Kang Jisoo said that wisdom depended on timing. He said sometimes it was better to let others walk into their own mistakes. Choi Myra moved her fingers across her tablet. She activated systems that stayed hidden unless needed. Nothing changed in the ship's lights or sound. Everything looked the same. Park Do-yeon adjusted power flow in quiet ways. He did not increase weapons or shields. Instead, he balanced systems so they could react in less than a breath if needed. The alien boarding craft approached and locked onto the human ship. The sound of metal connecting echoed softly through the hull. Air systems adjusted without alarm. The airlock opened. 3 aliens stepped inside. Their leader was Vaisha, a science officer. She carried many tools and wore an expression of clear interest. Behind her walked Toom, the security chief, heavy and confident, and another officer who recorded everything. The aliens looked around the airlock and then the corridor beyond. Their expressions shifted slightly. The space was clean but plain. There were no bright symbols or obvious weapons. The walls were marked with lines and scars that suggested age. Vesha spoke first. She said she expected more from a human warship. She said it looked more like a transport vessel. Kang Jisoo welcomed them and apologized for the ship's appearance. He said humans focused on function, not beauty. His voice was calm and polite. Toon made a low sound that suggested laughter. He said function should still look strong. He said this ship did not. Lee Hana watched their movements closely. She noticed how Toon's eyes lingered on sealed doors and dark corners. Confidence did not remove instinct. The inspection began. Visha scanned walls and floors. She commented on materials that seemed common and simple. She said the ship used designs many cycles old. She asked why humans still used such methods. Kang Jisoo answered honestly. He said old designs were proven. He said humans did not abandon things that worked. As they walked deeper into the ship, small details began to bother the aliens. Doors sealed and opened with perfect timing. The floor vibrated in patterns that did not match engine output. Some corridors felt longer than expected. Choi Mira watched through hidden sensors. She noted every sign of discomfort. She adjusted nothing. The ship was doing exactly what it was built to do. Park Do-yeon monitored the alien scan attempts. He allowed surface data to be read. Deeper systems stayed silent and unseen. He smiled slightly when one scan tool overheated and shut down. Visha frowned at her device. She said human systems were strangely quiet. She said it was hard to read their true output. Kang Jisoo said the ship was designed to reduce noise and waste. He said silence helped survival. Toon asked to see the engine room. He said security rules required it. Lee Hana stepped forward and said the engine was unstable and dangerous to enter without preparation. She said human engines were not friendly to visitors. Toon looked annoyed. He said that sounded like an excuse. Kang Jisoo nodded and said it was an excuse, but also a warning. He said humans learned the cost of ignoring warnings. Commander Arel's voice suddenly echoed through the corridor speakers. He asked for progress. His tone held impatience. Vaisha answered that the ship was strange but unimpressive. She said deeper scans were needed to be sure. Arel ordered a full internal scan. He said the Alliance needed clear data. Park Do-yeon heard the command through intercepted signals. He allowed the scan to begin. The moment the scan touched certain systems, the ship reacted. Not with alarms or weapons, but with quiet adjustment. Corridors subtly shifted. Bulkheads sealed far away. Systems woke from deep sleep. The aliens felt it at once. The air seemed heavier. The ship no longer felt empty. Vesha looked around and felt a chill she could not explain. She said something had changed. Kang Jisoo stopped walking. He turned to face them. His calm expression remained, but his eyes were serious. He said the inspection had gone far enough. Toon reached for his weapon, but it powered down the moment his hand touched it. Silence filled the corridor. The human warship waited, patient and awake. The boarding team froze as the walls of the human ship shifted around them. The corridor where they had entered now seemed slightly longer. Bulkheads sealed automatically behind them, quiet but firm. Vesha pressed a device to measure power flows. The numbers jumped and changed in ways that should have been impossible. She whispered that the readings were wrong. They could not understand them. Toon, the security chief, stood rigid. He tested his weapon. Nothing happened. His strength was useless here. He tried another method to call for support. The signal failed. Even their personal communicators blinked and died for a moment before returning with strange static. Kang Jisoo walked calmly toward them. He moved without hurry. His hands relaxed at his sides. He said, "You are not in danger. The ship only protects itself. We are aware of every move you make. You are not harming us." Vesha shook her head. She could not believe that a ship could act in this way. She had seen many advanced vessels, but none could alter internal structure or block scans with such precision. She asked how this could be possible. Kang Jisoo said humans learned to plan for betrayal and mistakes. He said that every ship was a guardian. Every warship was a teacher if needed. He said humans expected that curiosity could become danger. Toon growled low. He said this was not an inspection anymore. This was a trap. He said they needed to retreat. He moved toward the airlock, but it would not open. Lee Hanna joined Kang Jisoo. She explained that the warship would guide them back safely. No one would be hurt. The ship would only protect itself. She said that even though it looked small, it was powerful. It was trained to think faster than the aliens believed possible. Vesha looked at the walls. Panels moved silently, changing positions. Some corridors disappeared, replaced with new paths she had not seen. Her instruments reported anomalies that contradicted the law of physics as she knew it. She stepped back, trying to understand. Choi Myra monitored everything from her hidden station. She did not intervene. She only recorded the aliens' reactions. Every change they saw had already been predicted. Every movement of the ship followed the careful rules her crew had set decades ago. Park Do-yeon adjusted systems on the bridge. Energy was flowing smoothly to compartments that the aliens had not accessed. He did not panic. He knew the boarding team would soon realize that the humans were in complete control without showing force. The warship did not need to attack to dominate. The aliens noticed subtle changes. Air pressure shifted slightly in corridors. Temperature dropped by a few degrees, enough to unsettle them. Lights flickered in sequences that did not match normal engineering patterns. Vesha felt her confidence slipping. Kang Jisoo addressed them again. You may study, but the ship will decide what can be learned. You are guests. Guests must follow rules. Vesha tried to scan the engine room again. Toon tried to access weapon systems. Each attempt failed. The ship guided them politely, but firmly away from critical areas. They began to understand that they were trapped in a safe way. On the alien command ship, Commander Arel noticed anomalies. Reports said the boarding team was not responding normally. Sensors were confused. Data streams fluctuated without reason. He grew uneasy and ordered further readings. The patrol crew could not explain what they saw. Back inside the human ship, the aliens moved cautiously. Vesha kept muttering about old human methods being cleverer than expected. Toon remained silent, gripping the edges of walls, feeling powerless. The other officer recorded all moments with care, aware that these readings would shake their alliance when reported. Kang Jisoo explained that humans built each vessel to be independent. Each system could act without direct orders. Each compartment was aware of nearby activity. Even if the crew was distracted, the ship remained alert. This was normal for human warships. Lee Hanna added that humans survived because they planned for every possible outcome. They assumed enemies might trick, ambush, or overwhelm them. Every detail of the ship reflected this survival mindset. Vesha tried one last scan of the navigation system. The numbers changed in real time, blocking precise readings. The ship's hidden compartments and redundant pathways made sensors useless. She felt frustration rising. The human crew seemed calm, almost amused. Toon spoke, his voice low and steady. He said, I have been trained to face dangerous situations. This is different. I cannot fight what I cannot see. Kang Jisoo nodded. That is exactly what humans have always known. The unknown is not weak. The unknown is a teacher. The boarding team realized that the ship's responses were not aggressive. No weapon fired. No one had been harmed. Yet every action they tried to take was controlled, anticipated, or diverted. They understood they had underestimated humans entirely. Visha stepped to a corridor junction and froze. The walls shifted before her eyes, forming a path she did not remember seeing. She realized that every movement, every readout, was already predicted by the humans. The warship was alive with careful design and human logic. Meanwhile, Kang Jisoo and Lee Hana observed silently from the bridge. They watched the boarding team's reactions closely. No words were exchanged between them. None were needed. The humans had designed every response with precision. Choi Mira quietly checked hidden cameras. Each image confirmed that aliens could not record or study the ship fully. The warship allowed only what could be learned safely. Everything else remained concealed. The humans had mastered discretion and safety simultaneously. The aliens stopped moving for a moment. They realized that every corridor, every door, and every system was part of a defense that did not feel like one. It was a network of intelligence, patience, and human foresight. Park Do-yeon adjusted power flow again. Sensors that the aliens could read were maintained at safe levels. Hidden systems prepared for further escalation if needed, but none was required. The humans were confident, calm, and ready. Visha whispered to herself that she had never expected a warship to behave like this. It was not about firepower or speed. It was about thinking, predicting, and controlling outcomes without appearing threatening. Every detail was human, every reaction precise. Toon finally stepped back. He acknowledged silently that force alone could not control the humans. Every instinct he had learned was ineffective. The ship taught lessons without harming anyone. Kang Jisoo said, "You may return to your ship now. Take what you can understand. The rest is yours to wonder about." Humans do not hide to confuse. Humans prepare to survive. The aliens nodded slowly. Vesha realized she had learned more about human warships in minutes than she could have in cycles of study. The boarding team began to move back toward the airlock. The corridors adjusted again, guiding them safely as the boarding craft detached. Commander Arel and his crew observed through sensors. The human ship remained calm, silent, and clearly capable of more than anyone had expected. The energy readings returned to normal, but the impression on the aliens remained. On the human bridge, Kang Jisoo allowed a small smile. Lee Hana looked at him and nodded once. They had allowed the aliens to see some truth, but also taught them a lesson in respect. The human warship moved again into open space. Its purpose was clear: survival, preparation, and calm power. The aliens would leave with knowledge, but also with humility. Park Do-yeon said softly that the inspection was complete. Choi Myra confirmed that no secrets had been compromised. Kang Jisoo nodded and ordered the ship to continue toward its next destination. The patrol zone faded behind them. Space stretched in all directions, quiet, deep, and open. The aliens watched them go. They had come to examine a human warship, but they left understanding that humans had built something far greater than they had imagined. The lessons had been taught without a single shot fired. Curiosity had become caution. Confidence had turned to respect. The human warship glided on, patient, precise, and alive with quiet strength. The alien boarding team moved slowly back toward their craft, still unsettled by the events on the human warship. Their instruments continued to display confusing readings, as if the ship had hidden layers they could not penetrate. Vesha glanced at Toon, who remained silent, his usual confidence shaken. The corridors seemed to shift under their feet, subtle but unmistakable. Every doorway led to unexpected angles, and the walls bore markings that suggested a history the aliens could not understand. Kang Jisoo watched from the bridge. His calm expression never changed, yet inside, he knew the aliens were beginning to see the lessons the ship had been designed to teach. Lee Hana stood beside him, monitoring the boarding team's progress. She saw the hesitation in their steps, the nervous glances at the shifting corridors. This was exactly as planned. The aliens reached a junction that had not existed when they entered. Vesha stopped, confused by the new layout. Her instruments reported an impossible energy pattern. She said it aloud, her voice trembling slightly, and Toon's head snapped toward her. He said that this was more than clever design. It was a living strategy. They had entered a human ship, but it was no ordinary vessel. Park Do-yeon on the bridge adjusted the flow of power quietly. He did not activate weapons or shields overtly. He only made sure that systems could respond instantly if needed. The aliens' confusion was already enough. Choi Myra observed from her hidden console, tracking every step. She saw their fear, their realization of the humans' careful planning, and she noted it with satisfaction. Vesha turned to Toon. "This ship, it's alive, almost," she said. Her eyes were wide. "It adapts, it anticipates. Nothing we do affects it the way we thought it would." Toon's voice was low. "I have faced the worst in combat. I have never felt powerless before. We cannot fight what we cannot see or predict." Kang Jisoo appeared at the corridor junction, still calm. "You are not in danger," he said. "The ship is only protecting itself. No one will be harmed. But it cannot allow interference with critical systems. You are not enemies, but you are visitors. Visitors must follow rules." The aliens realized that their every move was being observed and anticipated. Every attempt to scan, to control, or to interfere had been guided by the ship itself. They were trapped in a controlled space, unable to harm anyone or to study what they wanted. The lesson was clear. Humans had prepared for every eventuality. Vesha tried to regain composure. She attempted another scan of the ship's engines. Her instruments failed again, displaying readings that made no sense. Energy outputs seemed to be rerouted before they could be measured. The corridors twisted slightly, leading her away from the critical areas she wished to examine. Every effort to gain an advantage was anticipated and countered subtly. Kang Jisoo spoke again, his voice calm. "This is how humans survive. Every vessel, every system, every crew member prepares for the unknown. We expect deception, betrayal, and accidents. We build not only for strength, but for survival. You are learning by experiencing, not by scanning." Toon finally spoke with frustration. "This is not an inspection anymore. It is a lesson, and we are failing to understand it fully." Lee Hanna stepped forward. "Yes, it is a lesson. Not a punishment, not an attack. You may leave with knowledge, but the full truth is not something to take by force. Humans survive because we are careful and patient." The aliens were silent for a moment, absorbing the calm authority of the humans and the quiet, undeniable power of the ship. They understood that no weapon, no scan, no clever device could dominate this vessel. It operated on principles they had underestimated: foresight, anticipation, and survival. Meanwhile, on the human bridge, Park Do-yeon monitored subtle shifts in power distribution. He made minor adjustments to ensure that no accidental triggers would harm the boarding team. Every move had been calculated and tested in advance. Choi Myra watched the aliens' reactions and recorded the data. It would be important someday, but the priority now was safety and teaching without aggression. Vesha whispered, "We cannot understand it fully. Every attempt fails. How can a ship think?" Kang Jisoo replied calmly, "The ship does not think like you. It responds. It adapts. That is enough. Humans are taught to survive, and this is one of the ways we ensure it." Toon looked around, his usual pride humbled. "I underestimated you," he admitted. "We all did. The Alliance does not know what humans are capable of." The aliens' craft began to power up at the dock. They were being allowed to leave, guided carefully by the human ship. The corridors shifted once more to open the path, and airlocks aligned perfectly. The lesson was complete. The humans had shown strength, calm, and superior preparation without firing a single shot. Kang Jisu watched them depart, his expression neutral, but his mind satisfied. The humans had accomplished exactly what they intended. They had demonstrated the value of foresight, discipline, and adaptability. Li Hana and Park Do-yeon shared a silent acknowledgement that the aliens had left with respect and caution. Choi Myra smiled quietly, knowing the data they had gathered would confirm what they already knew. Humans were not to be underestimated. The alien boarding team stepped into their craft, shaken but unharmed. Vesha recorded a final note. The human warship was beyond conventional understanding, and its capabilities had been displayed without aggression. Toon adjusted controls silently, his pride wounded, but his respect earned. They disengaged from the dock and powered away from the human vessel, taking one last glance at the hull that had outsmarted them at every turn. Commander Arel on the alien command ship observed from a distance. He could not comprehend fully the human methods, but he saw the results. The humans had turned an inspection into a demonstration of their superiority in strategy and preparation. He realized that the Alliance had misjudged humanity. The warship had taught them humility. Back on the human bridge, Kang Jisu allowed a small, rare smile. Li Hana nodded to him quietly, acknowledging their success. The ship glided back into open space, calm, efficient, and alive with quiet strength. Every system operated as designed, every crew member aware but untroubled. The aliens had left with knowledge and caution, but the humans had retained full control and security. Park Do-yeon checked the energy readings one last time. Everything was stable. No systems had been compromised. Choi Myra assured that all hidden systems remained hidden, and all data about the boarding team's presence had been securely recorded for analysis. Kang Jisu gave the order to continue on their course. The ship moved forward, leaving the patrol zone behind. Silent and undisturbed. The humans knew that space was full of observers and potential threats. They also knew that preparation, patience, and quiet power were the greatest defense. The alien team would remember the experience not as an inspection, but as a lesson in respect, strategy, and the subtle power of a human warship built to survive anything. The warship moved on, a living testament to human ingenuity, patience, and the readiness to face the unknown without fear. The human warship moved smoothly through space, its quiet presence almost serene. Inside, Kang Jisu walked along the bridge, observing every system, every readout. Li Hana joined him, checking instruments with calm efficiency. The ship had completed its demonstration. The aliens had been taught a lesson in caution, respect, and human foresight without any aggression. Choi Myra reviewed the hidden logs from the boarding team's actions. Every hesitation, every attempt to access restricted systems, every confusion had been recorded. These records would be useful for future encounters. Park Do-yeon monitored the ship's energy distribution, ensuring that all systems were balanced and ready. The warship had returned to normal operations, but its subtle strength remained evident in every detail. The alien command ship observed from a distance. Commander Arel could not hide his unease. He had expected an inspection to be routine, perhaps even a chance to find weaknesses. Instead, he saw a display of human preparation and subtle power. He ordered his officers to analyze the recordings from the boarding scene. Even then, understanding the full scope of what they had experienced would be difficult. Inside the human warship, Kang Jisu finally addressed the bridge crew. He said that it was important for the aliens to leave with respect. Humans do not need to strike first, he said, but we are always prepared. That is how we survive, and that is how we teach lessons without conflict. Li Hana nodded. The ship is ready for travel again. No systems have been compromised. Every defensive protocol worked as intended. The aliens have learned what they could, and now they must leave. Choi Mira added quietly, "No one outside has gained access to our critical systems. All hidden compartments remain secure. The boarding team will leave with curiosity, but nothing more." Kang Jisoo allowed a moment of calm. Then he said that it was time to demonstrate the warship's readiness in another way. Not by force, he explained, but by showing that humans plan for every scenario. He activated systems that subtly extended the ship's energy signature, broadcasting controlled pulses that reached distant alien vessels. The pulses were harmless, but precise. They disabled tracking systems, navigation assistance, and non-critical machinery on the alien ships nearby. There was no violence, no threat, only controlled demonstration of capability. Commander Arel on the alien ship immediately felt the effect. Sensors went offline in sequence. Some minor systems powered down unexpectedly. He looked at his officers, their expressions a mix of concern and newfound respect. This was not an attack. It was a message. The humans could control the environment without firing a single shot. They had done what no other species in the sector could. Back on the warship, Kang Jisoo explained that humans had survived many conflicts by preparing for worst-case scenarios. The ship itself was designed to be a guardian and a teacher. It could anticipate movements, adjust corridors, manage power flows, and protect its crew without appearing aggressive. This was a lesson in restraint, preparation, and patience. Lee Hana joined him on the bridge. She showed the data of previous encounters and historical records. They were carefully organized to show that human colonies had survived against overwhelming odds. Every lost battle had taught humans a lesson. Every victory had been prepared for, planned with foresight and discipline. The aliens could see that human survival was not based on chance, but on careful design and training. Meanwhile, the alien boarding team was still aboard their craft, recovering from the unexpected experience. Vesha recorded every detail. Toon examined the systems with renewed humility. They understood now that humans had mastered survival in a way the Alliance had not expected. The warship had demonstrated control, intelligence, and capability without ever raising weapons against them. Kang Jisoo addressed the bridge crew again. "Humans want peace," he said. "We do not wish to dominate others, but we will never allow humiliation or weakness to be used against us. The aliens must understand that caution is respect and strength is silent." Lee Hannon nodded, adding, "The lesson is complete. They have seen some of our methods. They have learned caution. Now they leave with understanding, and we continue our journey." As the alien craft detached, guided carefully by the human warship, Commander Arel watched closely. He could see the precision, the calm, and the readiness in every movement. The humans had allowed them to observe, to learn, but always within controlled limits. No critical system had been exposed. No one had been harmed. Yet the message was unmistakable. Humans were not to be underestimated. Choi Myra ensured all logs were secured. The hidden compartments remained untouched, and no alien technology could interfere with the warship. Park Do-yeon adjusted minor energy flows to restore normal balance. Kang Jisoo and Lee Hana exchanged a brief glance. The warship had performed flawlessly. The lesson was delivered, and the crew remained unharmed and ready. The aliens finally disengaged completely, leaving the human warship behind. Arel and his officers reflected on what they had seen. They had attempted an inspection to examine a human vessel, but instead they left with respect, caution, and a clearer understanding of human capability. The experience had been humbling. Inside the warship, Kang Jisoo gave final orders for travel. The ship powered smoothly toward its next destination. Lee Hana monitored all systems, ensuring that the controlled energy pulses used to demonstrate strength had no lasting effect. Choi Myra confirmed the security of every hidden system, and Park Do-yeon maintained balanced energy flow across the ship. The crew worked in quiet coordination, aware of the unspoken lesson the aliens had received. Humans had survived because of preparation, intelligence, and restraint. The warship moved forward as a symbol of these principles, a vessel that taught without harming, and defended without attack. As space stretched before them, calm and infinite, Kang Jisoo allowed himself a moment of reflection. The aliens had come to examine, to study, to find weakness. Instead, they had been shown respect, discipline, and the subtle strength of humanity. The ship itself had demonstrated the core of human survival: foresight, patience, and silent power. Lee Hanna spoke softly. They will think twice before testing humans again. They may understand the danger, but they will never truly know all we have prepared. Kang Jisoo nodded. That is enough. Survival is not just about winning battles. It is about being ready for anything and showing the truth without unnecessary conflict. The warship moved on, leaving the trade zone behind. The alien fleet watched in silence, humbled and cautious. Humans had taught a lesson in preparation, intelligence, and restraint. And as the resolute dawn glided forward, the lesson remained clear. Humans survive not by chance, but by design, planning, and calm strength. The human warship moved steadily through deep space, leaving the trade zone behind. Its systems hummed quietly, efficient and ready. Kang Jisoo stood on the bridge, watching the distant stars, feeling the satisfaction of a lesson well delivered. Lee Hanna joined him, scanning instruments, ensuring that every system remained secure and functional. The ship had completed its demonstration and returned to calm, precise operation. Choi Mira monitored all hidden systems. The boarding team's movements had been recorded, analyzed, and secured. No alien had been able to access critical systems, and no secrets had been compromised. Park Do-yeon adjusted energy flows slightly, maintaining perfect balance across the ship. The human warship was alive, not just as metal and circuits, but as a guardian designed for survival, learning, and quiet strength. Far behind, the alien fleet had regrouped. Commander Arel observed the warship's movements through long-range sensors. His officers discussed the experience quietly. They had come to examine a human vessel and believed it would be an easy inspection. Instead, they left with humility and respect. The human warship had shown power without violence, strategy without aggression, and control without intimidation. Kang Jisoo finally spoke to his crew. We have demonstrated what humans are capable of. We do not wish to dominate, but we will never allow weakness to be used against us. Today, the aliens have learned caution and respect. That is enough. Lee Hanna nodded. They have seen some of our methods, but not all. We survive because of preparation, patience, and intelligence. This is our lesson. Humans endure, humans plan, and humans are ready. Choi Myra confirmed that no alien had been able to access hidden systems. Everything is secure, she said. Our data is intact. They leave knowing what we allow them to see, but nothing more. Park Do-yeon added, energy distribution is stable. Defensive systems are reset and ready. The ship is calm but prepared. We have demonstrated without firing a shot, yet the message is clear. The warship moved forward, silent but powerful. The stars stretched ahead, endless and open. Kang Jisoo reflected on the events. The aliens had come to inspect, to find weakness. Instead, they had learned that humans plan, anticipate, and survive against impossible odds. The warship itself was a teacher, guiding the aliens back to their craft, while ensuring no harm came to them. Far behind, Commander Arel's officers continued their discussion. Vesher recorded details for the Alliance, noting that human vessels were unlike anything they had expected. Toon admitted quietly that he had underestimated humans. The patrol had thought of humans as lucky survivors. But now they realized the depth of planning, the intelligence, and the foresight required to build a ship capable of such subtle control. The boarding team's craft detached fully from the warship. The airlocks closed with quiet efficiency. The aliens moved away, leaving the human warship to continue its journey. Kang Jisoo observed them through sensors, seeing the mix of relief, caution, and respect in their movements. Humans had taught a lesson without confrontation, yet the lesson had been unmistakable. Lee Hana checked the ship's systems again. All protocols functioned perfectly, she said. Every adjustment, every redirection, every subtle control worked as intended. The aliens are gone, but the ship remains ready for any encounter. Kang Jisoo nodded. This is the strength of humanity. We survive, not by raw force alone, but by preparation, intelligence, and patience. The warship is a reflection of that philosophy. Choi Myra added, nothing was lost. No secrets, no systems compromised. We have maintained full security while allowing them to see the lesson we intended. This is efficiency and survival working together. Park Do-yeon confirmed that all defensive systems were reset. Energy flows were balanced. Systems remained silent but ready. The warship's hum was steady, like a heartbeat, calm yet powerful. Kang Jisoo took a deep breath, satisfied. The humans had done what they intended. They had shown caution, respect, and strength without aggression, teaching a lesson that would not be forgotten. The stars moved past, endless points of light in the void. The human warship, Resolute Dawn, glided forward with precision, calm, and quiet authority. The galaxy around it seemed unaware of the subtle power contained within. Humans had survived countless challenges by planning, by patience, and by intelligence. The warship embodied all these qualities. Kang Jisoo spoke softly to his crew. We continue our journey. We have demonstrated our strength without violence. We have preserved our secrets and taught respect. This is how humans endure. Lee Hana added, the aliens have learned to respect us. They will carry caution and understanding back to their fleet. Humans survive because we expect the unexpected and prepare for it. The crew moved efficiently, quietly, and confidently. Systems were checked and maintained, every function running smoothly. The warship was alive, not just as a vessel, but as a symbol of human ingenuity, discipline, and resilience. Far behind, the alien fleet faded into the distance. They had come to examine, but now they carried respect and caution. They had witnessed the human capacity for preparation, patience, and silent strength. The inspection had turned into a lesson they would never forget. Inside the human warship, Kang Jisoo, Lee Hana, Park Do-yeon, and Choi Myra shared a quiet moment. No words were needed. The lesson had been taught. Humanity's strength had been demonstrated. The ship moved forward, calm and powerful, a guardian of human survival, and a testament to what humans could accomplish when prepared. Patient and intelligent. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. The Resolute Dawn glided through space, silent, precise, and alive with quiet strength. Humans would endure, humans would survive, and humans would always be ready for whatever the galaxy might bring. The aliens had learned their lesson. The humans had survived and moved on, as they always had, quietly, patiently, and powerfully.